Welcome to Robert Bellissimo at the Movies, where we explore all things cinema. Today I'm going to be reviewing Divorce Italian Style, which was released in 1961. This was directed by Pietro Germi. He wrote the screenplay with Ennio Di Concini and Alfredo Gianetti. It starred Marcello Mastroianni, Daniela Rocca, and Stefania Sandrelli. The plot, this is from IMDb, a married Sicilian baron falls in love with his cousin and vows to wed her, but with divorce illegal, he must concoct a crime of passion to do away with his wife. This review will have spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, shut off the review, go watch it, and then come back and check out my review. And it's told as a comedy, and it really shows how absurd it is to... In Italy, especially at this time, divorce was illegal, and how absurd it is that it is if someone under the penal code, if you could kill your wife and get a light sentence if you caught the woman cheating on you as a defense of your quote unquote honor. But it shows how it's a double standard, because if a woman does it, she doesn't get a light sentence. So we see in the film, this is where he gets the idea to, he's unhappy with his wife. He can't stand her, and he's in love with his cousin Angela, played by Stefania Sandrelli, and his wife Rosalia. He can't stand. He's been married to her for 12 years, and he feels trapped. And so there's this trial happening where a woman killed her husband for cheating on her, and it says in the penal code that a man can get a light sentence, 7 years at the most, or 3 to 7 years, and whereas she gets 8 years, right? So it shows the double standard, and how women were controlled, and this sexism and this male chauvinism, and he actually thinks he's better than this woman. He's like, she's he insults her. It's all, I love the voiceover. There's so much voiceover in this film. It's all from Ferdinando, who his wife calls Fifi, who Mastroianni plays. It's all from his point of view, and we're completely in his head, and we're completely in his thoughts and his imagination. I mean, it's really beautifully done in this beautiful black and white cinematography. And so he thinks he's better than her. He insults her just because he's from a family that have much more money. They can afford a servant, and he's this baron. And he thinks because he's been married for many years, and he's a university graduate, and he thinks he's better than her, right? So it's complete sort of this male chauvinism. So the film is really a satire and a critique on that. They even show how sexual harassment is these people consider it normal. Like his Fifi's father, is constantly pinching the servant's bum, right? And the wife doesn't even care, So it's all this harassment of women is normal. And so it really shows how women are trapped, and they expect them to be pure. They expect them to be virgins. We see how Angela, she's writing like love letters back and forth with Fifi. They're in love. And the father is suspicious, and he finds out about it, and he hits her, and he sends how dare you, and sends her off to a nunnery, and so so it plays in a couple of different ways, because on the one hand you're laughing at the absurdity of it all, but on the other hand you're horrified, right? So I love films like that, what you consider cringe comedy, because sometimes you're laughing, but you think, I shouldn't be laughing at this because this isn't funny, but it's done in such a funny way. Particularly when you're in the Fifi's imagination, and how he is imagining killing his wife, So at one point early on, it's beautifully done, visually done, as he's looking out the window and his wife is scolding the people who work in the house they make their own soap, and all this smoke is getting in the house, and she's scolding them for it. And you see as he looks out the window, you know right away what he's thinking. If he could only throw her in this boiling water, and then he starts to imagine, stabbing her and throwing her in this boiling water, and it's done in a very over the top way, as he's stirring the pot as she's in this boiling hot water. And then later when they're on the beach, he imagines her sinking in quicksand. He also imagines putting her in a rocket ship and throwing her to outer space, but it's done in this very broad way, which makes it very, very funny. But Mastroianni is amazing in this. I mean, talk about I mean, obviously he's was always a huge movie star and considered such a great actor, but I don't know how much people realize here in Canada or in America. Of course, people know him, right? He's well known, of course, for 8.5, many, many movies. But how good of an actor he was, because he can seamlessly go do drama and seamlessly do comedy, and not everybody can say that. So, from an American-Canadian perspective, for who we look up to as great, great actors and actresses, I don't hear Mastroianni named enough, because he really is an incredible actor and underrated. And you see he has this little tick every now and then with I don't know where he got that from, but it's just this annoying tick his character has. But he is so funny in this, and I love, the slick back hair and the glasses. The wardrobe he wears. I mean, he is impeccable in this film. But you find yourself laughing and cringing at the same time as he plots and finds a way to get rid of his wife, and he finds out that she had this former lover, which he didn't know about, and then he feels two ways about it, because in his mind he's like, how dare she, what a tramp. Meanwhile, it's like, what, buddy, you're calling her a tramp because she has a history, yet you're planning on killing her so you can marry your cousin. But he just it's just that he's just been taught that way. How dare you have a history with another man and I didn't know about it. So it's that machismo factor. And so I really like that he had these double feelings. On the one hand, he likes the fact, because he's trying to find who is a suitable person for her that I can find a way to hook them up so I can catch them cheating, and then kill her. And so I shouldn't laugh, but the way it's done, anyone who's seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And so, of course, this is the perfect guy, this painter, and so she has a history with. And so he finds a way to get the guy to do work at their house so that they'll be together. And, he puts holes in the walls, and he gets this tape recorder so he can record them and catch them in the act. This will be proof, of course, when he's on trial later for killing her. And oh my God, you'll find yourself going from cringing to laughing throughout this film as he plots towards trying to kill her, and how his plans don't always go the way he wants it to. It's brilliant. I mean, you'll really enjoy it. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that. But I mean, it's ultimately told with a great deal of simplicity, but the way in which it balances comedy and and also the audience feeling horrified by what they're seeing is really, really well done on a satirical level. I mean, it's brilliantly done. I can't help but wonder if Germi, when he was looking at the script, thinking, can we get away with this? Because, it could have wound up just being maybe really serious, or and we would have lost the humor of it. But I think the humor brings out more of the horror, really, because you find yourself laughing but then cringing. So it makes me anyways question why am I laughing, and when I should be horrified by this, where it's easy to be horrified and it's also easy to laugh at the same time. But it just shows, it just brings out the absurdity of this law and this chauvinism, and that there's something funny about that, So I absolutely love it. And, the performances also from the supporting cast. Stefania Sandrelli. This is an early performance of hers, and Daniela Rocca, who plays Rosalia, Mastroianni's character's wife, is also brilliant. I haven't seen her in anything else. We'll have to see what else she's in. And then, of course, the lover that he tries to pair her up with is played by Leopoldo Trieste. Carmelo is his character's name, and you'll know him from Godfather 2 and some Fellini films as well. He's very, very funny. He's perfect for this film. So without sort of, I mean, yes, this review has spoilers, but I don't want to spoil every single moment because it's really about plotting. And it's the way in which he's plotting this and how things are going his way and then not going his way, reaching up to finale. And so you found yourself on you can't help because Mastroianni he's so, it's told from his perspective, so in a way you're on his side and in a way you're not. So in a way it's like, you want him to succeed. Why that is, I mean, I guess because he has a likable quality, but then on the other hand you don't want him to, right? So I love those movies that can just mix these feelings of guilt from an audience perspectives and pleasure and feeling guilty for rooting for someone who's doing something so horrible, but that's just the way it plays out, and that's the way it affects me. But it's when he finally is he really does get what he wants, without going too into details of exactly how it happens. You really have to see it. When he marries his cousin and he's on the boat with her at the end, and it's like this, like, is this really how it's going to end? That this guy gets a light. He only got 3 years, and now he's married to his cousin. He gets a light sentence for murder, and is he really going to get everything he wants? And that brilliant ending where he's kissing his new wife, and then the camera pans to the right to her toes, and then she's playing footsie with the guy driving the boat. Oh, that's brilliant, right? It's like, hey man, karma, you're not going to get away in one way, shape, or form. Something is going to bite you on the ass here, Fifi. And I'm sort of really glad that it ended that way, because I think if he had totally gotten away with it, I think that would have just left a bad taste in it and in my mouth, and I'm sure a lot of people's mouths. It reminded me a lot. This is the second time I've seen it. It reminded me a lot of The Heartbreak Kid, Elaine May's film, which Neil Simon wrote. I wonder if Neil Simon got some inspiration from this film. I would love to find out from Elaine May. If Elaine is watching, which comment below, let me know. But I would really love to know if this film was an inspiration from this film. Certainly looks like it inspired Scorsese. A lot of films have voiceover, but this film has so much voiceover. It feels like his work. So I highly, highly recommend it. It's a brilliant satire. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cringe. It'll make you think, right? So it's really, really, really good. So if you haven't seen it, you can check it out on the Criterion channel. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I want to thank all of my members on Patreon. If you're interested in becoming a member of my Patreon, head over to the link patreon.com/Robert Bellissimo at the movies for full details. You can also leave a donation, or what I call a tip, at Ko-fi. Ko-fi.com/Robert Bellissimo at the movies. I will leave the link in the description box down below. I would also really appreciate that you comment on the video, press the like button, and share it. That would be great. That will produce more and more traction onto my channel. Thank you again, everyone, for watching, and I will see you all in the next episode.